The United States just blinked, and the tech world is watching. In a quiet but explosive policy reversal, Washington has pulled back restrictions on some of the most critical software in the global chip industry. For over a year, US export controls had blocked Chinese access to advanced chip design tools, the digital brainpower behind every semiconductor on Earth. And that blockade is now crumbling. And make no mistake, this isn't just about software or trade compliance. This is about global power, technological supremacy, and the race for the next decade of innovation. So, what really happened? In the shadows of recent diplomatic negotiations, a key piece of leverage was quietly removed from the table. The Trump administration has effectively allowed electronic design automation, ADA, firms like Siemens, Synopsys, and Cadence to resume business with Chinese companies. No flashy announcement, no grand declaration, just a subtle but unmistakable message. The rules have changed. And that changes everything. If you're unfamiliar with EDA tools, think of them as the architects of every chip in your devices. These aren't physical tools. They're complex pieces of software that simulate, test, and perfect semiconductor blueprints long before a single atom is etched onto silicon. Without them, even the most advanced foundries are useless. That's why, when the US cut off access to these tools, it was essentially a silent tech strike. It wasn't a missile, it was a firewall. But now, with that firewall lifting, Chinese chip designers are rushing back to the starting line. For companies that had spent the last year scrambling to replace US tools with untested local alternatives, this is a massive sigh of relief. Some had even paused high-end projects entirely, unsure if they'd be able to finish what they started. That uncertainty just got wiped off the board. So why would the US reverse course after spending years warning about the dangers of China's tech rise? The short answer? Leverage. This move is part of a broader recalibration between Washington and Beijing. Behind closed doors, the two economic superpowers have been quietly stitching together a new trade détente. From rare earth exports to green energy commitments, the deal-making has been brisk and strategic. The rollback of EDA restrictions appears to be one of Washington's bargaining chips. Loosen up on some critical materials, we'll loosen up on software. Simple as that. But if you think this is a full surrender, think again. Yes, access has been restored, but the trust that once defined global tech collaboration, that's gone. Both sides now understand the stakes. China knows that its reliance on foreign tech tools is a vulnerability. The US knows that wielding export controls too aggressively can backfire, especially if other nations start questioning its reliability as a tech partner. This rollback might look like a win for Beijing, and in the short term it is, but it also accelerates a long-term trend. China will double down on self-reliance. More funding will pour into domestic software companies trying to build homegrown EDA tools. More universities will shift research priorities. More firms will race to sever their dependency before the next geopolitical storm. Meanwhile, global tech firms are breathing easier. Siemens and its peers get to recover lost revenue and re-engage with a market too massive to ignore. Chip design companies in China can restart projects that were frozen mid-cycle. And tech manufacturers everywhere, from smartphone makers to EV startups, can look forward to faster development timelines and fewer supply chain headaches. But the biggest winner here? Innovation. When the tools flow freely, so does progress. This decision, however temporary or conditional, restores a vital piece of the innovation pipeline. It means better chips, better devices, and a faster path to the next big leap in AI, robotics, and quantum computing. Still, the calm may not last. This is not a peace treaty, it's a pause. The same tensions that triggered these restrictions still exist. National security concerns remain. Competitive fears still linger, and in a global tech race where even milliseconds of processing power can be worth billions, nobody's sitting still. So here's what to watch: how fast China can build its own tools, how long US policymakers tolerate renewed access, how companies position themselves between two giants, and how consumers, like you, will be affected if this fragile thaw turns back into another freeze. For now, though, the chip world is back in motion. And in this world, motion means power.